Welcome to the Knowledge for Men show. Your life will never be the same.
Your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development.
I want to die empty of regret. I want to die empty of my best work. We don't understand who we are. Instead, we're living out somebody else's narrative.
What one man can do, another man can do. If it's been done, it can be done again.
Being yourself and being your truest, most authentic self in every moment. If it scares you or makes you a little afraid, do it. Follow your heart and your gut.
The first stage, I think, is finding you, like finding out who I am today.
Stuff will not work. You will have things that fail. Success is when you're a happy, fulfilled person. How do you define success?
It's your life, and you are the creator of the movie script that is your life story.
The father of personal development, Jim Rohn, said it best. You are the average of the 5 people you spend your most time with. And so I've created a mastermind community called the Lion's Den around this idea that if you are surrounded by high-performing people and you have consistent education and training, then you will succeed in life and as a man. Check out kfmlion.com to learn how the Lion's Den can take your life, relationships, and business to the next level. Again, that's kfmlion.com. All right, guys, welcome to the show. I'm here with Leon Logothetis. He recently completed his adventure of a lifetime traveling the world in search of human connection, which prompted his new book, The Kindness Diaries, one man's quest to ignite goodwill and transform lives around the world. Leon, happy to have you here on the show.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Leon. So we dive in with every start of the show with a favorite success quote or some sort of saying that the guest has lived by. So share with us what you got and what that means to you.
Well, my quote comes from the English politician Winston Churchill, and he had many quotes, but his most famous one, for me anyway, was never, never give up. And that's something that I live my life by. When I found myself in a bit of a pickle, I remember his words, and I remember what happened to the Brits and many others in the Second World War, and he never gave up, and I will never give up.
Yeah, I think it's so simple to say, just never give up. But I think we often overlook how simple and powerful that quote can be. Just never give up. And I know a lot of us have been in places in our lives when we had our back against the wall and we had that decision to make, to never give up.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it is simple to say things, but it's a little harder to implement them. And, but when you're faced with whatever it is that you may be faced with, if you make the decision to kind of have that philosophy, then, and to have a passion, to have a passion and to have the philosophy of never giving up, then I truly believe that nothing can stop you.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's go into your story. How did you get started with what you do? You're traveling around the world. What sparked that? And writing the book. So go ahead and take the mic and share your story with us.
I used to be a stockbroker in the city of London. Found myself on the outside to have everything I wanted, on the inside to have pretty much nothing I wanted. Spiritually, emotionally bankrupt, no sense of real direction, no sense of connectivity, no sense of purpose. And I happened to watch the movie The Motorcycle Diaries, which is a romanticized version of Che Guevara traveling around South America, relying on the kindness of strangers. And in that moment, after watching that movie, I realized, I was like, well, hold on, there's another way to live. This, even though it's a movie, there was a feeling I had inside me that was very much inspirational. And I wanted to go out and be more of service and not to live the way I was living, to be quite honest with you. So I quit my job. And again, it didn't just happen like that. It was building up. It was building and building and building. And really, I was pushed over the edge, thankfully, by this movie. And I quit my job and I started to travel around the world. And I started to do it on kindness. I started relying entirely on the healing nature of human connection.
So where did your travels begin? Where did you go? You're in London. What, you just quit your job? You just walked in, said, hey, I'm done and I'm going to travel the world. I watched this movie. Like, what did that look like?
Well, basically, it was a couple of weeks after I finished the movie and I just quit. I was like, I can't do this anymore. I can't even remember whether I gave them a reason. I I just didn't want to do it. I didn't want to live that way anymore. There was more. There was more. And my first adventure was I walked across America, hitchhiked across America on $5 a day from Times Square to the Hollywood sign. And I did that. Looking back at it, I realized why I did it. Whilst I was doing it, I wasn't entirely sure what on earth I was doing. But I took away all my money because it forced me to connect with people. When you have money in your pocket, it's easy to kind of bypass that connectivity.
Wow.
But without money, it's just connection. That's it.
Yeah, no, that was very profound. You're absolutely right. You know, when you have money, you feel like you're above the crowd, that you have something that others want. You don't need them. They're not on your level. But when you take away the money, you're forced to connect. Like you said that, right? To really make a connection with people and possibly share who you are and they share who they are, so that there becomes this mutual where you guys are helping each other.
Absolutely. And it was profound. The experiences that I had along the way and all my other journeys that I've taken have really been quite profound. And instead of seeing with my eyes, I like to think that now I see with my heart. And that took a long journey. That doesn't mean that I don't see with my eyes sometimes, because of course I do. I can now connect with people. I can come from the heart, and I've been inspired by so many amazing individuals along my journeys that I feel blessed. I truly, really feel blessed that I have had all these experiences.
This story reminds me of Forrest Gump. He's going around the country. Have you seen the movie?
Oh, I love that movie.
Okay. Yeah, when he's running across America, and yeah. So, can you share a story on this journey across America where you made a connection with someone? This also reminds me of the movie Into the Wild a little bit as well, actually.
Both movies I love. Into the Wild is an epic movie of someone. Obviously, it doesn't end well, but up until the ending, it's an epic movie of someone going out and saying, you know what, I'm going to take life by the balls and I'm going to go and live it. I'm not going to live by society's norms. I'm not going to live the way my parents want me to live. I'm not going to live the way my girlfriend wants me to live. I'm going to live the way I want to live. And in the process of doing that, I'm going to hopefully make a difference. So another epic movie.
Yeah, really good movie. Can you share a story of like, I just want to hear what it was like for you when you're making connections with people, and how did you transition from looking at people through your eyes and into starting to look at them through your heart?
I will tell you one story that epitomizes the entire journey that I've taken in my life since I got up and left my job.
All right.
So I did this journey where I bought a vintage yellow motorbike and I drove around the world relying on the kindness of strangers. But it was going to be done with a bit of a twist. And the twist was that unsuspecting Good Samaritans, I wanted to give back to them. So they had no idea that if they helped me, they would receive something in return. I was in Pittsburgh. I was walking in this local park, and I ended up chatting with this man. I had asked many, many people to help me, and they'd all said no, which is okay. There's no expectation. And I asked him, and I said, look, hey, man, can I live in your house tonight? Which is a bit of an odd thing to ask, but whatever. That's how I managed to cross the world. And he said to me, oh, look, I'm really sorry, but I'm homeless. And in that moment, I felt a lot of shame because I'm not homeless. And this chap truly had nothing. But he then said something to me that was quite extraordinary. He turns around and he says, look, if you want, you can stay with me tonight. I will feed you, I will protect you, and I will give you some clothes. And that's exactly what he did. The man protected me. He was a man who came from his heart. He taught me that true wealth is not in our wallets, but it is in our hearts. That does not mean that money is not important, because money, of course, as we all know, is very important. But he was a man who had nothing, yet he had everything. And in my time, I've met many penniless millionaires, yet Tony was the richest man I'd ever met. The next morning, after spending the night on the streets, I felt this urge to give back to him. I had to give back to him. Because the book is not just about kindness, and really my journeys are not just about kindness. It's about going out there and connecting and living fully, really living fully, and getting opportunities and taking them. Like, I've had many opportunities, and some of them I haven't taken. But many people in this world have not had anywhere near the type of opportunities that we have in the Western world. Even in the Western world, they haven't had the opportunities we have. So basically, I took him in the bike because I had a sidecar, and I told him the truth. I said to him, look, I'm traveling around the world relying on kindness, yet I sometimes give back when I can. So I put him up in an apartment, and I sent him back to school. He wanted to become a chef. And sometimes today we talk. And he says to me, Leon, you changed my life. And I say, my friend Tony, it is you who changed my life, because he opened up my heart in that moment to realize that it's not about pursuing money. Again, money's important, don't get me wrong, but it's about pursuing learning and becoming like a better human being and taking everything that you've learned and inspiring as many other people as you can without preaching. Because, there are some people that don't like what I say, and that's okay. But just by being, we're like we do. So many of us do, and we forget to be. And Tony taught me that, and it was an epic experience that really shifted my life. And truthfully, we wouldn't be on this podcast. I wouldn't be on this podcast if it wasn't for him, because I wouldn't have connected to my heart in the way that I did after meeting someone of that nature.
And so, what does it mean to live fully? What is the current state of most men today?
I think living fully is following your passion, coming from a place of empathy, coming from a place of compassion, coming from a place of kindness, and being of service, but ultimately creating a win-win. I win, you win. You win, I win. Same thing. And it's really about following your own dreams. Too many of us follow other people's dreams. We follow other people's dictates of how we should live our lives. And we're maybe not even aware of it, to be honest with you. I wasn't aware of it until I watched that movie. And then I became aware of it. And I was like, okay. It's like in The Matrix. I think it's the red pill or the blue pill. Which one are you going to take? And if my memory serves me correct, the blue pill was the one that woke him up. And that's a powerful analogy, really. It's we walk in this world and we forget to really live. And some of us wake up at 90 and look back and think, wow, what was all that about? And I can tell you one thing, I ain't going to do that.
Yeah.
And if I can touch someone's life in a small way to inspire them to take the blue pill, then take the blue pill.
Yeah. And that's huge. And when you're sharing this, did they just think, Leon, you've lost it?
Sometimes.
And you're looking at them like, no, you've lost it.
Yeah, sometimes. And certainly at the beginning. And I don't want anyone to think that I just got up one day, decided to change my life, and it all worked out, because it didn't. There have been many, many days where I wanted to give up. There have been many, many days when I've thought to myself, well, why am I doing this? Like, what was the point of all this? Why did I do this? So it's not a straight line. It's a wiggly line, as they say in England. I don't know if that's an American phrase, but wiggly basically means, it's kind of going all over the place.
Wow. Just really listening to you talk and the passion and the energy that you have for this is, it's really moving. And I think even myself included many times, and probably so many listeners on this show right now, we grind, we work hard. And I think sometimes it's really important to take a step back and just ask yourself, am I grinding? Am I working hard in the right direction? Am I climbing up the right ladder that I want to be climbing? Or am I climbing up a ladder leaned up against the wrong wall?
Yeah. I think that we've got to make choices in our lives. And every choice we make gets us closer to two different goals. One is the goal of being happy and being content, not all the time because it's not possible. And the other choice takes us down the wrong path. So each choice we make is a very, very important choice. And we can sit there and blame everyone else, which I've done many times. Don't get me wrong. I was a very good blamer and probably to this day sometimes still do it. But ultimately, it's up to us. That's the truth. It's up to us. We have to surround ourselves with good people, and we can't do it by ourselves. But what we do need is to make the right choices, as many right choices as we can.
Yeah. And listening to yourself talk, like, what would your former self 20 years ago say if he heard you talk right now?
He'd be in shock. He'd be proud. He'd be very proud, and he'd want to something would probably click in his brain and be like, if this chap can do this, then why can't I? And that's the truth with all of us. If I can do it, then why can't you? If you can do it, then why can't I? And that's what, like the chain reaction of inspiration, let's put it that way.
Yeah. What have you learned from, you've been around the world, so you've been to a lot of different third world countries, you've been to Africa, and what have you learned from being in those kind of tribal communities, coming from a place like London? You said you had everything externally, but nothing internally. So coming from that place.
I would say that ultimately we are all the same. Doesn't matter what color you are. Doesn't matter how much money you have. Doesn't matter where you live. Yes, on the surface, of course, there are differences. But at our core, each and every one of us just wants to be seen. Each and every one of us just wants to be heard. Each and every one of us just wants to belong. And it's the same thing, whether you're in a hut in an African village or you're in a 5-star hotel in New York City. Ultimately, whether or not you're aware of it, we just want to be seen.
And so do you feel like so many of us chase these external things because that it will help us be seen?
I think so. I think society has kind of foisted that onto us to a certain degree. And again, I don't want anyone to think that I'm sitting here saying, give everything up, give away all your money and go on a journey. No, I mean, you can if you want to. But it's not about giving up your money. It's about going out and finding yourself and focusing. Instead of focusing on the outside, turn that light and focus on the inside. It's not going to happen overnight. It may do, and good luck to you if it does. But it may take a long time, and you've got to be committed. You've got to be committed to kind of working on yourself. And we're all committed to our jobs, we're committed to our families, and few of us are committed to ourselves. You know, when you're on a plane, they say that the first thing you have to do is, if an oxygen mask comes, is put it on yourself, not on your child. Because if you put it on your child, you could become unconscious and it won't work. So you've got to look after yourself and then go out into the world and utilize everything you've learned to inspire, to touch, to be of service, to win-win.
Yeah. I mean, we've heard that so many times, but I think often we overlook it. And like we said earlier with your quote, it's often the simplest things that we take for granted.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, this has been really good going into your story and learning about your travels and how it's really impacted your life. What advice would you give to someone who is really just getting started with, you're saying, working on yourself?
You know, sometimes, or more often than not these days, I try not to think too much. And in the old days, you'd ask me that question, and I'd kind of think, how am I going to give a brilliant answer? Well, the first thing that came to my head is sometimes we have to figure out why it is that we do what we do. So why is it that I spent 5 years of my life living someone else's life? Why? And all the answers ultimately come from my childhood. So there's a book that, it's not my book, but it's a brilliant, brilliant, simple book called The Drama of a Gifted Child. And it simply explains why everyone does what they do. And if you want to know why you do what you do, that's the first step to changing it, if you want to change it. So The Drama of a Gifted Child. Simple book, powerful, and that will answer the question better than I can.
Wow. The Drama of a Gifted Child by Alice Miller.
Yes. It's a great book. It's a really, really, one of the books that changed my life. No doubt at all.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for the book recommendation here. I want to dive now into a portion of this interview called the knowledge round. So just going to ask you some rapid fire questions here. So Leon, are you ready for the knowledge round?
I hope so. Let's see.
You'll be good.
Do you feel stuck, alone, or like you're not getting the type of results you think you deserve? You put in all the hard work in your life, relationships, and business, but things just aren't getting any better? I've been there. That's how I started. That's where I was. I kept trying to improve my life, but nothing just seemed to give. I started to think that personal development was a joke. I felt like every month I was in the same place I was the previous month. But then I found something that just worked. I grew, my business grew, my relationships flourished, and everything around me just started to click. People started respecting me more, and I finally felt like I was becoming the man I wanted to be. I created a program to help guys get the same results in their life. Check out kfmline.com to learn how the Lion's Den can radically transform your life. Again, that's kfmline.com. Welcome to the Knowledge Round, where the guests will be asked rapid-fire questions to give the audience invaluable pieces of wisdom to help transform their lives. Starting in 3, 2, 1, showtime.
Well, the first question I have for you is much of a deep question, but you seem very aligned and grounded with your message, the way that you speak, and your path. And so what advice would you give to someone who doesn't have that, who is feeling lost and maybe a little unsure of their purpose?
I would say find someone who is aligned with their purpose and connect with them. Because I tell you, I was not aligned with my purpose for all my life by any stretch of the imagination. And I would find people, I would find books, I would find inspirational movies, and I would connect with them. And slowly, by connecting with them, I would connect with myself.
Yeah, really good. And what would you say was holding you back from becoming the man you are now today?
What was holding me back was what I felt other people wanted me to do. Ultimately, that was what was holding me back. And fear, of course.
Right. How much of your life would you say was dictated by what you felt other people wanted you to do?
I would say at times 100%.
Yeah. And I think that's true for so many people as well.
Yeah.
Well, okay. You mentioned, about finding someone who has what you want. Can you name a person who has had a tremendous impact on your life, like a mentor? Who is this person and how has this person impacted your life?
That's an excellent question. When I was, I'd say 16, I had a after-school teacher who she'd always say to me, "Leon, I believe in you. I believe in you." And I never believed her. I was like, I don't understand why you believe in me, because I don't believe in myself and no one else seems to believe in me. But for years, I believe in you. And every time further on in life that I was doing something bad or that things weren't going well, I would remember what she said to me. And I'd say, she believed in me. It's such a powerful thing to find someone who believes in you.
Yeah.
Until you can believe in yourself.
Right. Okay. And you mentioned already a really good book, but what would you say are 2 or even 3 of your most influential books that have helped you on your journey and why?
I would say that one of my most favorite books, apart from The Drama of a Gifted Child, is a book called Getting Things Done. Cannot remember the name of the chap who wrote it.
David Allen.
Yes. Because sometimes it's easy to kind of fall off the path,
Right.
And not get things done and kind of live spontaneously, which is great, don't get me wrong. But sometimes you need some structure. So Getting Things Done was a really powerful book that I read. And another book, which is kind of odd, is a book called Hidden Messages in Water. And it's a book that basically, it's about love, really. And it's about how you treat yourself. It's about how you treat others. And it's a very simple book, but very profound.
Yeah, great books. I have to check those out. And this is more of a scenario for you, Leon. What advice would you give to your 20-year-old self if you had 60 seconds with him? Like, what would you tell him to do, and what would you tell him not to do?
I would tell him that it's okay to be in pain, that it's okay to cry, that it's okay to feel different, that it's okay to not want to do what everyone else wants you to do. And ultimately, I would say what I began with, which is never, never give up. And surround yourself with good people. That's one of the most important things. Surround yourself with good people.
Yeah. And what do you feel like is like one underrated characteristic that you believe every person should work on more?
Kindness. Simple. How you treat yourself and how you treat others is going to determine how you live your life. Doesn't mean that, when someone does something that is not kind and you need to respond in a forceful way, then you have to respond in a forceful way. Kindness isn't just about, love and flowers. It's about just the foundation of your life coming from that place. But that doesn't mean that you let people walk all over you under no circumstances.
Yeah. Yeah. Really good. And even if you have to summarize some of your main points already, that's okay. But what would you say is your philosophy on life and success?
My philosophy on life and success.
Yes. Yeah, it's good.
I would say my philosophy on life and success is basically to live your own life, to see with your own eyes, to see with your own heart, and to make a difference in other people's lives. And it's sometimes people can say, oh, well, you think it's so grandiose of you to say that. Well, why? Why not be of service? Why not think that you can be great? Why not? Does it mean that you think you're perfect? No, of course not. But why not make a difference? Why not believe that you can live a full life and inspire people and wake up in the morning with a smile on your face? Not every day, because we're human beings, but as often as you can. Why not?
Yeah, really good. And I've really enjoyed this conversation. It's been impactful for me, and I know so many of my listeners. So we're going to conclude the knowledge round there. Really good stuff. What's now exciting you today? Are you still traveling? Are you still moving around the world? You got your book out. What's next for you?
Yeah, I just actually finished a speaking tour, which I drove from LA to New York, and I gave quite a few speeches. I'm driving back from New York to LA and doing more speeches, actually. And then I'm going to continue traveling, and I'll be in India for a couple of weeks. I'll be in Europe for a couple of weeks. I'm writing a new book. Just trying to go out there and live and just be.
I like this. So when you're driving from New York to LA or LA to New York, is this in a car? Are you on a bike? I see the cover of your book. You're on a bike, traveling around. It looks fun.
I am most certainly not on the bike.
Okay.
There's a limit to the level of madness I will partake in.
Okay.
Done that once, and that's it.
Yeah. How long does that take, your drive from East Coast to West Coast?
Well, it took me 30 days, but if you do it fast without going over the speed limit, of course, you can do it in 4 or 5 days. Not too far.
Wow. Yeah, intense driving. That sounds fun. Sounds like something that I'd be interested in doing. Go ahead and give yourself a plug on how my audience can follow up with you.
Okay, cool. Well, they can Google my book, which is The Kindness Diaries, and they can Google my name. But unfortunately, it's always on these podcasts. My name is impossible, so they're never going to remember it. But I'll say it anyway. Leon Logothetis, Logothetis. But the best way simply is just to Google The Kindness Diaries, and that way I'll come up.
Yeah. I'm doing it right now. So it comes right up for both guys. For you, if you guys want to follow up with Leon. Leon, it's been a pleasure having you here on the show and sharing your story and journey and being vulnerable. It's been good. I know my audience is really going to like this.
Well, thanks, man. It's always an honor to be asked to speak, and I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the Knowledge for Men podcast. Hundreds of interviews and 1 million downloads later, we're continuing to build an international movement, and we've just started. So if you enjoyed this episode, go ahead and leave a review in iTunes. It really helps to grow the podcast. Guys, 2015 is the official year of living with purpose, where every day you do only the things that matter to you. You wake up, live with purpose, and take massive action towards the life you want. Check out kfmfree.com to get free tools I've created to help you crush life. Again, that's kfmfree.com. This is your host, Andrew Farabee, and I'll see you in the next episode.